About a week ago, Glitch dropped a pretty weird video where Jax, dressed as a maid, is dancing some random routine. Sure, the whole thing was basically promo for that Jax toy, but back then I completely missed one detail that on one hand directly connects to Glitch and the amazing digital Circus, but on the other hand actually reveals a couple things about Jax in episode 7. First off, it's important to get that this isn't just some random dance, but the star power dance that originally came from Fortnite, but we'll get back to that a bit later. At first it might have looked like Glitch were once again dropping a nod to some kind of major pop culture thing, because we've already seen plenty of that in the digital Circus episodes. But if we dig a little deeper, we instantly spot a couple of pretty interesting details. Lately, Glitch has been pushing the digital Circus into way bigger production, constantly collabing with someone to boost the popularity of an already well-known 3D show. And since Fortnite is famous for its collabs too, including with all kinds of popular internet stuff, there's a pretty good chance this video isn't just another Easter egg from Glitch, but an actual hint at a future Fortnite collab. Your thoughts on that, as always, I'm waiting in the comments. But besides all that, it's important to look at the name of the dance cause. Like I said, it's called Star Power. The next theory might sound a bit far-fetched, but it honestly deserves a mention. First off, it's important to note that we're touching on episode 5 again, because it was the only one where Jax showed up in a maid outfit. And if we remember what went down in episode 5, then, besides all the weird adventures and the obvious trolling from Jax, we can find that little adventure from Kinger, stargazing. This was probably the only adventure that actually had stars in it, and if we remember the name of the dance, we can draw a small parallel. The video dropped about a week ago, which means even if it did have hints about the future of the digital Circus, they're clearly tied to episode 7. With all that in mind, we can assume that everything happening around Jax in episode 7 will follow the same vibe as that adventure from episode 5. First, there's the distance from everyone else, then the confusion about why things are happening the way we're seeing them on screen. After that, the big revelations, and finally, the acceptance of reality with that sincere smile on Jax's face. I don't know how true this might end up being, but you gotta admit it's a pretty interesting theory, especially considering the fact that we already get that Jax and everything happening around him are gonna be the key focus of episode 7. In that sneak peek, we already saw the first phase, Jax being distant from everyone else, and considering how big his issues are this time, all the other phases are going to play out on a much bigger scale than what we saw during stargazing. If this theory actually turns out to be true, then a lot of theories about new adventures can just be wiped from memory, because in that case episode 7 is going to be nothing like what we've been imagining. Pretty much everyone right now is sure Jax is going to be the key player of the new episode, because we haven't seen that kind of madness from anyone else, like we did from him in episode 6. We'll talk about that too, but it's important to get that the chaos we're in, 4 is going to hit every single character, and I'm 100% sure the start of the episode's going to be pretty chill like we always saw.
Whoa! That sure could have gone better. But I'm sure the next adventure will be less... what?
And only after that, the main stuff's going to kick in. It's key to get that among all the characters, including Caine. We've now got the ones who turned out the most important overall and the ones who, let's say, spiced the show up. Most fans picked Jax, Pomni, Regatha as the main ones that the chaos is going to start with. You can also throw in Caine, who's glitching and getting more and more pissed off with every new episode. And that post-credits scene straight up shows that Caine's totally and irreversibly losing his mind. I'm more than sure episode 7's gonna start with a scene where Pomni and Regatha are talking about what they agreed on during the favorite character awards. Then, classic style, Caine shows up, and this time he definitely ain't gonna compromise or look for some comfy adventure for the folks in the digital Circus. In episode 5, we clearly saw that Caine can pull everyone to him from any corner of the circus, and even without any physical interaction, drag them all into a new adventure. Caine's really on the edge now, and his main job is to keep the folks in the digital Circus entertained, and since day after day they keep refusing his own adventures, it's just making him worse and worse. Caine's decision to send the characters into a new adventure against their will could end up being one of the key moves that kick off the chaos. I feel like that new adventure they'll get dragged into against their will is going to be pretty short, and since we know the new episode's going to be really long, there's a chance that after that, we'll see another adventure. But that's not exactly what we're talking about right now. After they get back from whatever Caine cooked up, the real riot's gonna blow up in the digital Circus. Since Caine's slowly losing self-control more and more, there's a pretty good chance something in his adventure is gonna end up hurting one of the characters, and when they come back, they're gonna start telling Caine everything they think about him and his adventures. That kind of attitude from the digital Circus folks ain't gonna go unnoticed by the admin, and in response, he's gonna start spilling everything he thinks about them. From episode 3, we remember what happens when Caine loses control.
The only thing I'm good at, and that... that'd be...
Whose therapy session is this again?
Oh yeah!
Back then, Zubul managed to stop him, but we all get that his instability's just getting worse. And in episode 7, nobody's going to be able to hold back this, let's say, destruction of the digital circus. Y'all remember how in episode 2, Pomni fell through the textures. Since the digital circus ain't really any different from Candy Kingdom overall, they can pull off something similar here too. And after a massive glitch, all the characters will end up in a place like that. But this time, there ain't gonna be any gummy goo, just the 6 main digital circus characters, and that's where the really important stuff's gonna kick off. At that point, all the characters are gonna realize it can't go on like this, and that's where we circle back to our sorta split between main and, exaggeratedly speaking, side characters. From the moment they fall through the textures, every single character is gonna be crazy important, and it won't matter if it's Gangle or Jax. I feel like it's gonna be Gangle who reminds everyone that at the very start, Pomni kept going on about some kind of exit. But before they all team up as one to get out of the digital circus, they gotta deal with some problems that are right here, right now, and the most obvious one's probably gonna be getting Jax back to normal, cause after episode 6, it's legit scary what's gonna happen to him. At that point, Jax is already gonna get that there's no turning back, and that's when he's gonna start honestly telling what's really going on with him. I think that's when they'll show us his memories of Ribbit, who's been hinted at for the 2nd episode in a row. After that story, Jax might even shed a few tears, and that's when the hidden hero of the digital circus steps in, Kinger. We've seen plenty of times how he can be totally level-headed, and I'd even say wise. Kinger's perfect for the role of a therapist, and it's pretty likely that after all that Jax just shared, Kinger's gonna pull him aside and have a real heart-to-heart. And considering that up till now all, let's say, therapy sessions ended up working out, I'm sure that after this, Jax is gonna be a totally normal character and finally be able to drop that tough guy mask. In short, everyone's going to be cheering on Gangle so she can live without her comedy mask. The friendship between Pomni and Regatha is going to get even stronger. Overall, after falling through the textures, everyone's going to get way closer to each other. Then Kinger's going to step in again with his, let's say, superpowers.
Here, take this.
Well, wait. What did you just do? What was that?
It's a butterfly. It can restore your health.
Did Caine mention that?
Oh, nah. I made it up.
And bring everyone back into the digital circus. By that time, Caine's gonna calm down and things will get back to normal. And that's when the whole crew's gonna start planning their escape from this trap and looking for that very door. I've got a hunch that after they get back, we might see one more small adventure, this time actually chosen by the characters themselves. We remember that episode 7 turned out way too massive at first, so they had to split it into 2 separate episodes, linked by the same storyline. In that case, I'm sure episode 7's gonna end with someone from the characters finally being able to find that very door after a long search, and that's gonna be how the episode wraps up. In the end, we're gonna get an episode that kicks off all the chaos, but at the same time sets us up for the really insane stuff that's gonna go down in episode 8.